Okay guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are here with the lovely Miss Amy and we are going to be touring her tank and talking a little bit about what it's like to be a woman in this hobby. So I guess let's just start with the fish because they're going crazy right here. You want to tell me your favorite fish in this tank first?
So my favorite fish is the magnificent fockface. He's actually hiding back here. He's a little bit more timid, which is ironic because he's the biggest fish.
No, right? We were talking about that earlier.
My second favorite, maybe it's a tie, is the powder blue. I used to have a 30-gallon tank, and Aquatica helped me upgrade to the 90 so that I could have tanks. And I've been eyeballing this powder blue for a while.
And guys, that was not an easy one to obtain. That was our favorite fish as well. It was in the store for a while, and then, you know, but this tank is worthy of it for sure. And just a few others. I mean, we have this Scopus tank is extremely beautiful. This one to me looks unique.
Yeah, his color is really nice.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
Yeah. I've got a little goby down here. I don't know if you can see it. He's partnered with a pistol shrimp.
That thing is so sick. You don't see those little ones often in tanks. I'm not gonna lie, Steve never lets me order those. Also, we got a Coral Beauty. That's extremely beautiful Coral Beauty.
Yeah, that's about 3 years old. That was from my original tank.
There you go, guys. That's.
And then a mated pair of clownfish.
Those are beautiful clownfish. And then it looks like a Melanaris wrasse up here.
Yep. Melanaris actually likes algae, which is just a surprise to me, and he will take an enormous chunk and then start bashing on the rocks like they do with the snails.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes fish obtain these weird, like, non-natural niches in our reef tanks that you wouldn't.
And then there's also a 6-line wrasse, and that one I've had for 3 years as well, and they get along just fine.
Very good size 6-line wrasse. This is a chunky monkey. And then a little cleaner wrasse over here. Steve puts those in everybody's tank, so I'm not surprised to see that. Okay, well, after the fish, I mean, the elephant in the room, this coral is insane. I like your toadstool over there. That's a staple. You got some nice euphyllia going on up in this corner. Two nice torches, some hammers. Looks like an octospawn. Yep. And then I see you got a little Gonopora garden going on here. What would you say is your favorite coral in the tank right now?
I mean, I think my favorite is for sure the toadstool. I got that when it was the size of a thumb, and so 3 years old, it's just really opened up nicely. I love the gorgonian as well. I just think they're really interesting. And I do like soft corals. I mean, some people, you know, feel like soft corals, they're easy, they're beginner corals, but it just adds a lot of color and height to the tank. Got a nice bounce mushroom here, which I love.
Again, another thing that Steve puts in everybody's tank. He's behind the camera getting all excited right now. If you have an Aquatica service tank, I guarantee you have a bounce mushroom and a cleaner wrasse in there. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm a soft coral guy. I mean, they'll see my tank at home in a couple videos, but it's just full of enthelia. And I think that people get really caught up in the idea that, like, if you're getting more expert, you have to take those corals out of your tank, which if that's the route you want to go, totally go that way. But soft corals are incredible.
Yeah.
They truly are.
I love the variety. And then there's a Scenaria.
Incredible. It's like jelly-like.
Yeah, I love how they get inflated.
Yeah, it's really cool. A nice mushroom selection in here too. You got a couple redactics down there and that bounce, some awesome.
Yeah, little gel breaker up top.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that.
Little baby. And this tank is still new-ish. This tank is only 6 months old. My 30-gallon was 2 years old. And I had just outgrown the tank, and it just wasn't fun for me anymore. There were things that I wanted to be able to do that I couldn't. I had an all-in-one tank, so I was kind of limited in terms of room to upgrade. And so to me, I was nervous about how to upgrade from a 30-gallon to larger, how to plumb it. And so, you know, I just wanted to say that, you know, big shout out to Aquatica. I didn't know how to plumb a sump. I was worried about lifting all the water for a 90-gallon compared to a 30-gallon, and so, you know, finding a fish store that you can trust to help you with the setup, you know, to me that was a big barrier, and now I can have, you know, gorgeous tangs and fish that I could never have in a 30-gallon.
Yeah, it is true. It's definitely an intimidating process in every step of the way. Having this much water in your house, plumbing a tank, having to like deal with all the equipment that comes with the sump is even a big deal because all-in-one tanks are very compact and very simple. So I think that's awesome you made the upgrade. It's beautiful, and tangs are always the pushover factor. Every single time someone upgrades, it's because they want tanks.
And then I also love the inverts. I mean, to me, that adds so much diversity to the tank, and so I have a lot of cool inverts throughout. I have, you know, I love like the shrimp, the the crabs, the sea urchins. I have 3 different types of sea urchins. You may see like little hats for the sea urchins, which is fun. They like to have something on them.
Which you might take the cake for invert tank, I'm not gonna lie. Which makes me so happy because that's probably the most overlooked thing. Everybody gets their turbo snails, their astrea snails because you walk in a fish store, that's the first thing you get. But like the fact that you have several urchins, I look at that emerald crab, that thing is massive even. And then like the Linkia is beautiful, which you never see in tanks because those things don't live, but this is a very healthy tank. It's doing just fine, it looks beautiful. What would you say your favorite invert is out of all of them? You have a bunch.
The sea urchins are really fun. The sea urchins are like the hardest working member of your cleanup crew. And so they're always, oh, this is funny, the 2 of them.
Little tussle.
So the fox face used to be king of the tank. But powder blue has taken over for sure. But I also have like a blue porcelain crab, and they have these cool
we'll try to
little
get a clip in it
appendages,
right now.
and they do their filter feeding, and so it's just really fascinating just to see them doing their thing, as well as the pistol shrimp. You usually don't see them, but they make this really loud pop, and it's just really cool that the fish, the goby, helps to bring food to the pistol shrimp, and the pistol shrimp provides protection for the goby. So it's just really cool, all of these natural behaviors that you can have in the tank.
Yeah, it's incredible we can maintain a symbiotic relationship inside of a glass box at our homes. Okay, so actually the inspiration for this video, Amy had talked to us about maybe representing the female perspective in reef keeping because it's not something that's talked about. And I think it's important to talk about it. And kind of the first kind of preface for that was that you may have been talked down to in fish stores or treated differently because you're a woman. So what would you say, is there experiences like that that have happened to you and kind of how that's went?
I mean, I think in general, being a reefer still is a predominantly male-dominated hobby. And sometimes when you go into the fish stores, you get treated differently. Some stores will kind of talk down to you, assume that you're not knowledgeable. So it's important to find a store that you trust, that people aren't going to talk down to you, they're not going to be judging you. And so, when I went to Aquatica, I just found that they have a love for the hobby. They want to pay it forward. They want you to be successful as a reefer. And so they treat you as a person. Anyone can do saltwater aquariums. It's not about male or female. It's about a love for marine life and the inhabitants. And finding someone you can partner with to set you up for success. I mentioned I was a little intimidated about upgrading from a 30-gallon to a 90-gallon. Aquatica helped me to get through that, helped me to choose the right tank, helped me to choose the right technology. So I think that Brody and Steve are going to go through the details of what's in my tank in a little bit more detail, but I can just say that I love all the automation. Everything is hooked to my Wi-Fi. I get notifications on my phone if something is off, and so it's peace of mind. I work a lot. I don't have a lot of time to maintain a tank, and so to me, entrusting Aquatica to get me the right equipment and to be able to come and every other week help clean my tank and make sure that everything is operating ideally, it gives me peace of mind so that I know that all of my livestock are in good care, and then I can just focus on my love for the hobby and all the cool inhabitants that I can have. I mean, I've had people tell me, oh, you can't get this light or you can't do it this way, and you need to find your own path, and it's more of a collaboration with Aquatica. I was a reefer 20 years ago. I had multiple tanks, and then I took a break from the hobby, and then I stepped back into it with a 30-gallon. I was fully capable of setting that tank up myself, getting it running for 2 years, but it was really, to help me get to a bigger tank with more technology, to be able to get my dream tank, my bucket list of corals and fish. That's really where Aquatica has helped me. But it's never been talking down to me or not thinking that I'm educated. I love learning new things, and it's fun to have that conversation, running ideas past, like, do you think this is dinos or algae, or what would you recommend based on your experience? And so it's been a collaboration on how to maintain a tank so that I can continue to enjoy the hobby.
And in general, I feel like we learn a lot from our customers' tanks too. Like, we don't know everything, and that's, I think, a misconception. I think that's the coolest thing about running service on other people's tanks, is we really get to first of all, we get to have a million tanks that we probably couldn't afford at our house. But second of all, we get to see all these new cool things. We were talking earlier, your Melanaris wrasse is eating your algae. Like, that's not something we see every day, but we get to experience it here and learn new things every single day servicing these tanks. So that's the cool thing about what we get to do. But so another thing I thought about is a lot of reef keeping is done online. So YouTube, Instagram, that's kind of where we get all our knowledge. That's where I started. I saw a video, Coralfish 12G, and then ran with that, and that's kind of what got me in this hobby. And honestly, I feel like women are extremely underrepresented on our social media platforms or even forums. I feel like I don't see a lot of like women leaders in those spaces. So do you feel like that might have been like a halting point for you in the beginning, not seeing any women do this? Was that like maybe like...
I mean, that is interesting. I mean, there's a ton of social media out there, a lot of different, YouTube channels and everything. You don't see a lot of female reefers out there. There is a fun Facebook group that I am a part of called Reef Chicks, and it's really fun because it's women supporting women in the hobby. But there's a lot of great resources out there, and I think just in general, if you have a love of the science and the marine life, not to let gender be a barrier.
Yeah, exactly.
So one other thing that I wanted to say about Aquatica is just they're not just about making a sale. There have been times where Steve has told me no. Your tank isn't ready, you need to give it a little bit more time. There may be a lot of fish stores that are looking to make a sale, and they're gonna give you something that is not gonna live, and you're gonna be very sad. And so I think there's a nice balance between the love of the hobby, wanting you to be successful, and also a care for the life forms that are gonna be in your care to make sure that they do well. So I think that is also a bit unique compared to some of the other stores that I've tried out.
Yeah, me and Steve always mess around and joke that we are terrible salesmen because one, we love everything in the store too much, so we're not gonna sell you something if we don't think it's gonna be too good. But we love it too much, we often keep it. So we like spend too much money, and instead of selling it, we just want it so we keep it. But I think that is important because you don't wanna go into a store looking for something, oh, that's a beautiful fish, and like, oh yeah, it'll be just fine, and then in 3 months it's this big, it's a freaking unicorn tank.
I mean, a good example is I admired the powder blue from day one when I saw it at Aquatica. I had my eye on this fish, I wanted this fish, and it was actually one of Steve's favorites in addition to the fox face here. We waited until this tank was mature enough that we knew that they were gonna do well, so I didn't end up with ick and unhappy, unhealthy fish from day one. And so, Steve helped to guide me on when is the right timing, and the powder blue was in a tank with the Scopus so that we knew they would already get along. So also to help guide me that maybe we need to introduce them at the same time, that we won't have a lot of that territorialism and fighting going on. And so that was, really important to me to help guide me in my fish selection.
Yeah, patience is key. We always say it. I think we've said it in every video so far. Patience is key. And having people, we talked about earlier, like there's lots of resources out there for you. It doesn't just have to be Aquatica. It can be YouTube videos, it can be forums. But like truly, people are here to help, we're here to help. If you go on Aquatica Corals on Instagram and you DM me, I'll answer your question as fast as I can. Like we're not here to lecture you, we're not here to, we're here to help. And that should be every fish store, but there's lots of resources out there for you to find everywhere.
Yeah, and other times, like if I get some crazy notification or something is not quite ripe, like the sump level seems way too high or something is going on, I'm texting Steve and getting his input. And I've heard of other clients when a pump is getting old or something is failing, like Steven has, his colleagues are there to help out, doesn't matter what time of day.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we love this stuff. This is why we're doing it. So we want to make sure we're here to help. I just want to say, by the way, I can't get it out of my head, who did the Aquascape? We didn't talk about it earlier, but the amount of caves in here.
Amy and I spent some time at the store together in the rock bin and picked out we prepared for a while before the tank was set up. So tank got delivered, and Amy and I had gone through the rock bin several times. There were certain pieces of real reef that we had, and a lot of communication between Amy and I figuring out exactly how the Aquascape was going to look. And I think our collaboration, the vision is living right now behind you.
No, 100%. I think that I'll pick up the camera and get some B-roll in a little bit here, but there's an underway there, and then there's a cave there, and the tunnel there, and I like the negative space in these areas, which also I want to say that I've always wanted to say this is perfect. you need to leave room in your tanks for fish. It's important. A lot of people just get a bunch of rock and they pile it up and they call it a day.
Part of the communication between Amy and I, which you'll throw up on the screen, is a raceway behind the tank. So
which we have at the 65. Exactly. That was our vision there. Yeah, it's important. These fish, you can see the scope is literally just went around. So having that way to go around and up and through, and it's important, and it's healthy. It makes fish healthy.
Yeah.
And
well, and plus there aren't any dead spots. In my old tank, I basically had the classic rock pile, and there was so much detritus kind of behind that I could never get to, and so it also sets the tank up for success.
Well done, Steve and Amy. I really enjoy it. Did you see that? Cracking lids. Oh my goodness, we almost just had fried fish on the floor, ladies and gentlemen.
And I have 2 cats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be dinner. One's just over there right there. Yeah, lids are very much important and something that you should invest in. Yes, you can go to Home Depot, buy a screen kit, put some washers on it. Go look at how that works for us at our shop. It doesn't work. We have more of the fish systems. They break in like literally 2 weeks. Invest in a nice lid. Use code Aquatica on krakenreef.com to get 10% off. Little shameless plug. But invest in a nice lid like these. They're long lasting. They're beautiful. Yeah, I'll pick one up right here. But you can see, another thing people don't understand is a lot of the times if you buy a screen kit, the actual screen is black and that shades the crap out of the lights when you have them over there. So it like literally disvalues the amount of light being put in your tank. But just the build, it's flush to the tank, it's customized, it's customized to this exact tank. It flips perfectly flush to these edges, sets in great. This is actually a 2-piece one, so you can lift one at a time and your Melanars wrasse can hopefully not jump out of the side while it's covered over there. But beautiful size lids. Take the little feeding department here, or compartment here. So when you have it on your tank, you don't have to take the whole lid off just to feed. That's something you have to do if you go to Home Depot and buy a dang screen kit. Yep. It's very inconvenient. They break really fast if that's the case. Yep. So well-built lids are very important to invest in. Not the most fun purchase, but definitely needed.
It's worth the money not to use a cheap one. You can give them the dimensions of your tank. You tell them what size tank you have. They have some pre-made templates, but then I did measure the distance of where my lights were so that they could have a cutout there. And then there's a lot of choices whether you want 1 or 2 ports for feeding, you want to cut out in the middle, so it's highly customizable. And
they even have those little like filter feeding cups where you like set them in.
Yeah, you can get like, these are printed, they can come in different colors, and then I also have a feeding cup that you can just like put your cubes in there.
So Kraken Reef is 100% the best on the market, and you should definitely invest in a Kraken lid if you can. Like, I'm gonna go get the camera right now just because I want to show you guys. But she's right, these like cutouts in the back are just like perfect. Like, it's like so satisfying in my brain just because of like the symmetrical lines. Like, it's just so perfect. And then these feeding cups are really convenient. You can go ahead and take that off to feed.
If you're gonna spend the money on a tank, guys, don't cheap out on the lid at the end.
What's up, guys? All right, in this part of the video, I'm jumping in with Amy here, and we're gonna go over the equipment. Now, this is a Red Sea Max 350, Red Sea Reefer, Max 350, G2, all the names, all the numbers. What you need to know, this is a 90-gallon aquarium, okay? And when they say reefer, it is designed with a reef in mind. Let's talk about a few things down here. First, we have a little ATO over there. Everybody needs auto top off. We're jumping into a reef mat. We circumvented the filter socks for a reef mat. We have the Red Sea skimmer in the back with the sensor on it, the overflow sensor. You'll see that there's a spare pump line in here, and we're running a large 57-watt UV on Amy's tank. And then we even added some circulation down in the sump. So it's, come on up here, Brody. It's just baseline, the same equipment that comes in the Red Sea Reefer package. However, there's a UV as an added extra that we put in. Aquatica, you've heard us say it before, you have to have a UV in your tank.
I'm gonna change what I said earlier. All of our service clients have a cleaner wrasse, a bounce mushroom, and And a dang UV sterilizer.
UV sterilizer. If you're working with me, you're getting a UV sterilizer. Make my life and your life easier. Let's just do it. Other things that are in here. This came with the slide out cabinet. So all of our controllers are over on the slide out cabinet.
Beautiful Red Sea.
And then Amy also has tucked away up top, hiding back here to your left. There's our doser, 4-head doser. So that's it. The Red Sea 25s, the gyre pumps that they have, Red Sea Reef lead.
If you're looking for a plug-and-play beautiful setup with every single piece of equipment that not only works functionally and works well, but also looks amazing. Just all like just even the simple red, just cohesiveness throughout the entire sump.
Yeah.
The pull out, like Steve showed you, the dosing line is just gorgeous. If you're looking for that, Red Sea's honestly the best way to go.
And it's nice that it's all in a single app. With my other system, I built myself, and it was different apps for different peripherals, and it was kind of painful. Little tricky to get everything on your network when you first set it up, but once it's done, you're good to go. You get notifications, hey, your skimmer needs to be emptied. Yeah. So it's really, you know, I can monitor my temperature. Hey, my house is getting a little warm.
Yeah, why don't you guys go check out Amy's Nano? So did you hear the part of the video where she had a 30-gallon all-in-one and quit that to go to a 90? Well, she couldn't stay away.
I needed a new hobby. I needed a little project for myself, and so I had my eye on a small nano tank that was in the Aquatica showroom. They have a nice little 3-gallon. I got the 5-gallon version of that. It's manageable for me. I'm doing frequent water changes on my own. I'm maintaining it myself, but it gives me my own little, a different habitat, so I can have different animals in there that are more shy, that might not do well in a larger tank with tangs.
Okay, so this is the little nano here. It's incredible. I really like it. It's very unique, and we talked about it earlier, like the soft coral kind of feather duster, that type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So it's only maybe 2 or 3 months old, so it's still a young tank, but we took sand and live rock from Aquatica, so it gave it a jump start. So I didn't perceive any cycle whatsoever for this tank. My plan in the future, once it gets a little bit more seasoned and I've been adding a lot of copepods, I would love to have pipefish in this tank, which I felt would not thrive in the other tank with all those aggressive fish.
Quicker flows, stuff like that.
Exactly. So this is a more gentle tank. So I have gorgonians. I've got the feather duster worms, which I think are just super cool, which probably would be eaten in the other tank by the wrasse.
Exactly.
I wanted to try out a sponge. So I have this cool ball sponge. And I'm trying out, I've never had it before, but I have a non-photosynthetic gorgonian in the corner as well. I thought I would try it out. So this is more like my experimental tank, just to see what thrives. But I tried to get things that are easier to care for, don't require, super fancy lights. This was a whole system, a whole kit. And it's been fun. It's manageable. I'm doing water changes 2 to 3 times a week, just until I get the swing of things. I'm monitoring the salinity. I don't have a auto top off on this one. So this is the anti-technology tank. I'm manually turning the lights on. I'm checking the water levels to keep the salinity and the temperature stable. I have a little itty bitty sea urchin. I call it my nano urchin for my nano tank. So this is a fun little project for me. I may add a little bit more macroalgae. I liked the dragon's breath color. I wanted to try that out. I tried macroalgae in the big tank, and obviously it became a great snack for the tangs.
Exactly. You're just feeding them expensive seaweed.
Yeah, so this is my fun little project for myself that I'm maintaining. And this was fun in terms of Birdie helped me pick out some of the rock,
It looks good.
We spent some time kind of designing how to really rockscape in a small tank.
No, it looks very natural. It looks like that natural, like almost like the Caribbean reefs with all the soft corals and gorgonians. That's kind of what you see out there, which I enjoy. Because then you also have diversity here, because you have this type tank, and then you have your beautiful normal
Yeah,
like reef
exactly.
tank with everything
Yeah.
flashing.
The one downside of the hobby is it's addictive, that there's
Yeah.
always some new environment that you're interested in, you know.
All right, guys. Well, I think that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you, Amy, for letting us come in your house and explore your tanks. I'm sure we will be here again in the future to kind of get an update on your tanks.
Yep.
And with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one.